Hello and welcome to the Money Marketing Podcast. I'm Kimberly Dondo, Digital Content Manager, and in this week's Weekend Essay Podcast, we have Amanda Newman-Smith asking, would a cooler image attract more young people into the advice profession? Take it away, Amanda.
Would the advice profession benefit from a cooler image? I was reading an article about marketing the other day. It was about how being young is associated with freedom, happiness, and being cool. So even brands that target older consumers tap into youthful marketing because they want to appear fresh and forward-thinking. It got me thinking, would a cooler image attract more young people into the advice profession? I didn't get into journalism because I thought it was cool, but I knew it could be. When I was about 17, I read a book that contained a black and white photo of music journalists Tony Parsons and Julie Burchill in their punk heyday. In that photo, a teenage Burchill, all scrunched hair and heavy eyeliner, gazes to her right, while Parsons, a bit older, looks straight at the camera, his hands stuck casually in his pocket. Both are wearing skinny jeans and leather jackets. I was only a toddler when it was taken by freelance photographer Penny Smith, best known for her work with famous musicians. But as a teenager, I was drawn towards it because it showed writers looking as cool as rock stars. None of the journalists I've met in the flesh has looked anything like that, even the music critics. But that's not the point. By then, I was interested enough in journalism to find out more, and I soon realised it can be cool regardless of whether you wear smart suits or tight jeans, whether you're 16 or 60, whether you report from war zones or the local pub. It's the people you meet and the things that you talk about that make it cool. That also applies to financial advice as a career, but it's an option that doesn't occur to most people, let alone be considered cool. Wanting to get an insider's view on whether financial advice would benefit from a cooler image, I spoke to financial advisor mentoring group founder Ben Beck. Beck points out that financial advice has a lot going for it as a career option for young people. Due to a shortage of advisors, new entrants can reasonably expect a job for as long as they want it. They can meet all sorts of different people and specialise in areas that interest them, investments and ESG, for example. For Beck, the coolest thing is helping someone, steering them away from doing the wrong thing financially and educating them in the process. That's cool in the way that young people might find teaching cool, but is it YouTuber cool? If it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't have known that being a YouTuber is a serious career option these days. When I was blissfully unaware of gaming YouTubers like Pat and Jen of popular MMOs or Dan TDM, I thought making YouTube videos was just a hobby. Nobody's going to pay you for playing Xbox, I berated my eldest, when all he wanted to do one half-term was gaming. My jaw visibly dropped when he told me how much money these gaming YouTubers were making. At that point, Pat and Jen, sadly now divorced and no longer gaming together, had just moved into a lavish mansion in California. My daughter, who was 5 at the time, said she wanted to live in their garden shed. I laughed, ignoring the fact that a YouTuber shed had more appeal than living in our house. What I've learnt from my kids is the out of reach to most people kind of careers that kids used to aspire to, like being an actor or a pop star, are not desirable. Being a professional footballer is still popular among teenage boys, but it is social media that seems to have the most appeal. That makes me wonder if it holds the key to attracting young people to a career in financial advice by making it feel cooler and more relevant to them. Beck points out that financial advice is an evolving profession, with many advisors now creating podcasts and social media posts as technology has become increasingly important. In his view, the profession needs to use social media to reach out to young people in a way that other professions don't have to, because they have enough new people coming through. I'm struggling to remember who said it, but someone recently told me the advice profession doesn't make a great job of selling itself to young people. I agree to the extent that I don't think posting videos aimed at financially educating teenagers will get them queuing up for jobs as advisors. I could be wrong, but I don't think advisors waxing lyrical about their qualifications or career paths on social media will make much of a difference either. In my experience as a mother of a teenager, what appeals to young people is the highlights of something, like a trailer for a film or the latest PlayStation release. It's how selling everything works, even school and university places, as these always come with a glossy brochure or prospectus that puts them in their best light. I wonder if there's a way of using social media to show the best bits of being an advisor that may not be obvious to new entrants. I know so many advisors who have fun doing the job, whether it's the camaraderie with colleagues or meeting clients who have become more like friends for a catch-up. Some advisors have high-profile clients whose confidentiality needs to be protected, of course. But where's the harm in highlighting this as an example of different people you can meet? I've already mentioned that professional football is still a popular career choice among teenage boys, but only a percentage will go on to achieve that, a tiny percentage. Those who don't make it might try to get into something like sports therapy, physiotherapy or something like that, but becoming an advisor who specialises in dealing with sports professionals could be equally appealing, if only they knew about it. Speaking to Ben Beck has brought me back down to earth with a bump on some of my thinking, however. When I was emailing him to arrange a chat, it occurred to me that there may be good reasons why advisors don't tend to talk up the sexier side of the profession. Or there a brasher approach that highlights the money you can make and the celebrities you could meet just attract the wrong sort of people to the profession? Would new entrants feel misled if they thought they were rubbing shoulders with billionaires all day, when in reality they were doing admin for Mr. and Mrs. Jones from over the road? Talking to Beck confirmed those niggling doubts, that there is a danger in making it too cool by focusing only on that small percentage of glitz and glamour. As Beck points out, it can take a very long time to get to the point of attracting high-profile clients. The reality is that there will be a lot of learning and some very long hours. Seeing a couple of clients before lunchtime, then being done for the day, is something that you can only achieve when you're retiring, not starting out. In Beck's view, selling the profession on the basis of a glitzed-up image of what it could be increases the risk of people joining from university then quickly realising it isn't what they want to do. I had a similar experience at the start of my career in journalism, so I know that promising the world to new entrants can backfire. As a young journalist, I landed a job with a big publishing group and naively thought that was my career sorted. I'd been honest in the interview about wanting to cover features on sport, not news. Yes, you can do that, no problem, I was told. It wasn't a lie. I did cover features on sport, meeting celebrities and high-profile sports personalities as a result. I'd greeted the ex-boxer and TV personality Frank Bruno with the cringe-worthy line, "Hello Frank, did you get my fax?" But that was only part of the picture. I also had a news beat to cover, which included transport, and I absolutely hated it. At the interview stage, I hadn't expected to be doing that. To rub salt in my wounds, features and sport were handed to other people. I could still write for both sections, but I'd thought that at least one of them would be mine. The dreaded news beat remained my responsibility. After much agonising, I handed in my notice. My boss didn't understand when I explained why. "But you are writing features, you are doing sport," he said, exasperated. He didn't say, "What more do you want?" but I'm sure he was tempted. I felt I'd been sold an image of a job that didn't reflect the reality, and I wanted out. If you're recruiting, of course you want to downplay the less appealing elements of job description and accentuate the positive. But the image and the reality need to match or you recruit the wrong person. That's a tightrope financial advice, like any career, has to walk. Advice is all about helping people, but that message needs to be put across in a way that means something to young people. However rewarding it is for advisors to make it possible for someone to take early retirement, I don't think that is going to sell advice as a career to young people for whom retirement is a way off. Beck questions whether sell is the right concept to use in this context, and I know what he means. I don't think selling is a word advisors like to use these days, as it has too many negative connotations with the pre-RDR past. However, selling the idea of a role is exactly what many other careers benefit from. There are numerous films and TV series about the legal and medical profession. Many are works of fiction that Beck points out are spiced up and don't reflect reality. Even so, I think they still put those careers on the map. Without some sort of similar cultural reference point for financial advisors, other than being lumped in with the old-fashioned city stereotypes like Gordon Gekko, we need to start from scratch in showing financial advice as a separate entity. But that's no bad thing, as it means potential new entrants can get to see the modern profession for what it really is. As Beck says, the image of a financial advisor used to be very corporate, but many now have a less formal approach. You can be suited and booted or dressed casually, whatever is right for the advisor and their clients. Perhaps the more creative side of financial planning is what we need to accentuate, that it can be whatever young people want it to be.
Thank you, Amanda, for another amazing Weekend Essay podcast. We do hope that you enjoyed it. Please do keep up to date with all our new releases via Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, as well as everywhere else you get your podcasts from. You can also keep up to date with all our new content published on the Money Marketing website, as well as our Twitter and LinkedIn. See you next time.